What's up, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about why all the automotive YouTubers are selling their cars. Now, we're going to go over the reasons why they say they are, and I'm going to go over some of the reasons why I believe they're getting rid of their vehicles, and some of the things you guys need to know about what's going on in the market, so this way you can prepare yourself if something like this happens to you here very shortly. But before I get into the video, if you could do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for the YouTube algorithm, it helps you find more amazing people like yourselves and enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. We do post 3 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at automotive.life, and let's get into the video. So I assume if you're watching this channel, you are an automotive fan. If you've been watching YouTube as well, you've noticed that a lot of these YouTube creators are getting rid of their vehicles. We got Ed Bolian, Stradman, Tavares, and Hoovy, some of the bigger ones that are liquidating their cars, but there's tons of other ones that are mid-size and smaller, even myself, that are liquidating a lot of our vehicles. Now, if you've been watching how kind of it all unfold, there's a good channel, it's called Life of Paulos. You should definitely watch him. He kind of gives you a breakdown of what's been happening in the automotive industry as far as YouTubers go. And then my end is a little bit more on the business side, like what I believe what's happening actually with cars, the business, and the industry. So a lot of these YouTubers were saying that they were getting rid of their cars, and they were kind of hyping it up to make it look like they were buying this Bugatti. Now, I know they didn't say they weren't, and they didn't say they were. They just left it up there in the air. And I believe they wanted to do this so this way it's a lot easier to sell your vehicles when everyone thinks that you're basically getting ready to buy something even more expensive than liquidating your assets to get some cash. Now, as you guys know, cars 90% of the time, or actually 99.99% of the time, are a depreciating asset. But this is one of the few times in history where regular cars have actually gone up in value instead of down. So even with the rare, more exotic cars like what a lot of these guys had, it was astronomical on what some of these guys made on their cars. Some of them only had them for about a year and a half, and they were making, $100,000, $200,000 on top of what they purchased them for. So even if they did spend a lot of money, like if you watch Hoovy's channel, he's always talking about how he spends way too much money on the cars and loses money on them. He probably made money on almost every single car, and then on some of those, hey, he probably doubled his money. But this was all done under this cloak of saying that everybody was looking for maybe a new Bugatti, or they wanted to upgrade and get something crazy. But I'm going to give you my spin on it and why I believe that it's probably the opposite. So I guarantee you some of these guys are car experts, but they probably have somebody like myself in their corner that's telling them, hey, you know what? Cars are an all-time high. Let's get rid of some of these cars to get some of that capital back, just in case if the market crashes, then you can go ahead and buy something later. Because if you've watched my channel, I've bought cars here and there, and I've actually bought some cars to do builds with you guys, and I've kind of planned stuff out behind the scenes, but you would not believe a lot of the cars that I've bought, I've literally been able to sell them for almost double what I bought them for because the market is just so insane right now. I bought a few classic cars, a Camaro, a Mustang, a Challenger, and every time I've bought something that I figured I was going to bring onto this channel, and I was just ordering parts and waiting till the parts came in before I brought it on the channel, somebody offered me some money, gone. And it's kind of irritating, and so I've been literally just trying to get some fun projects, even like the smart car. You guys see how ridiculous that thing is. I've literally been offered almost double what I bought it for now because people just have this extra money. There's this desire for cars and the hype. It's just now everything is justified. So everybody's going out there and paying the exorbitant amount of money. Now on my end, I've actually been liquidating a lot of the cars that we've been having. So I usually, right around this time when I had my dealership, we would go out and buy probably 50 to 100 cars under 5K. This is when it's the best time to kind of snowball and stock up cars because tax season's coming around the corner. And usually we would buy more expensive cars, but about the last 2 years, people didn't really want to finance. They just wanted to pay cash for cars. So that's usually what we stock up on. But what I've been seeing now is even like some of our more expensive cars, trucks, RVs, some of our ATVs, stuff like that, we've been just getting rid of them because I have this feeling, and I don't know when it's going to crash. I don't want to say crash. I want to say market correction, because what people are paying for cars right now is ridiculous. A lot of these new manufacturers, you can almost get a new car for the price of a used one, if you're patient enough and you want to wait about a year or so. So as of right now, there's a lot of people that are actually buying new cars and just waiting. I didn't think this would ever happen. Usually people have that impulse to buy a new car, but it's just like the housing market. Once everything gets so ridiculously expensive and overpriced, people just stop buying. So what I've been seeing is even like with Corvettes, we'll use them as a good example. I see a bunch of dealers, 20 grand over MSRP, you know, and so now I have a friend, he won't tell me the dealership's name, but he bought 5 allocations for $5,000 each. And he says that little by little, they're slowly starting to lowering them down. So I believe that the market is not going to basically crash, but it is going to correct itself. And there's people that are a lot more patient now that are waiting for vehicles instead of overpaying for their cars. You know, perfect example is my scenario with my Mercedes and how I bought my Audi R8. You know, I bought that Mercedes for $65,000 back in about a year and a half ago with 12,000 miles. I sold it or traded it in with 40,000 miles on my car and got, I think it was close to like over 90 something thousand dollars in trade-in value. It's insane. Like, the market is just absolutely ridiculous right now. So I believe a lot of these automotive YouTubers had somebody whispering in their ear like, hey, this is the all-time peak. We need to start liquidating these cars so this way you can get your cash, because there's always going to be somebody desperate to sell a classic car, an exotic car, or something like that. Regular cars, every day you can find some sort of deal on those if you look hard enough. But when it comes to the exotic world, a lot of people are just, they're overpaying ridiculous. You know, like I was trying to buy, believe it or not, I was trying to buy an 08 to 2015 V8 R8. It was a stick. They were going for almost as much as what I bought the brand new 2021 Audi R8 for. You know, it's ridiculous. The market has just literally flipped on its head, and it can't continue like this. Now, a good marker for this is the housing market. You know, one of the biggest housing buyers, Zillow, is stopped purchasing houses in a lot of areas, and they're slowly liquidating a lot of these houses. Now, they're going under the premise of, oh, well, we can't, you know, get the materials, we can't flip them fast enough, you know, which that's fine. Usually you want to buy and hold. You just hire a property company and you rent them out. You hold for a year or two till the properties come back up, and then you just dump it. Why take millions and millions of dollars in hits when you don't have to? It's because they know that there's bigger losses coming down the road. Just like with the automotive industry, I've heard whispers of CarMax and Carvana slowly starting to taper off on buying. Because I've been literally sending customers, clients, friends, even some cars we actually paid to get the titles in our names just so we could take them down there, because we're getting more money for the cars from Carvana and CarMax than we are at the actual auctions or trying to sell them retail. It's been ridiculous. But some of the things we've been hearing lately is, like I said, Carvana is starting to pull back. They're not giving as much. You know, like I had people, they would get a printed out online estimate. They would walk in there and they would just give them the check. They would look at the car, made sure it ran, everything was good, and they'd give them the check. Now they're starting to scrutinize. Oh, well, we don't like the wheels. Oh, we're going to ding you on this scratch. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that. And so they're taking away little chunks of money here and there, which is letting me know that the buyers are not really there. So even right now, a lot of dealerships that we set up over the last few months, and even some of my friends here locally and other states, are noticing a very big slowdown when it comes to sales. Now, everybody's buying overpriced stuff at the auction. We all know this. Everybody's still bidding like it's huge demand. Like we need to overpay for this stuff. But then when it gets to the lot, if you drive by your neighborhoods, you'll see like all these dealerships are getting more full of cars and everything else. And they keep saying, oh, there's a shortage. Right down here, there's a street called Sahara in Vegas where it's full of car dealers. I remember driving through and seeing like 10, 15 cars on each one. Now I'm seeing an average about 25 to 45 to maybe even 50 cars, you know, in the front row, and then they still got some in the back. So it's letting me know that the supply chain is starting to pack up, but people are not paying the prices. Like there was this Jeep Wrangler all lifted up, tires, snorkel, LED lights, all that stuff. Usually that stuff lasts here in Vegas for about a week. It's somebody buys it. It's been up there for about a month and a half now. They got it for, I think, $15,000 or $20,000 over Kelley Blue Book retail. So they're still thinking that they're going to get all the money and whack some poor sucker. Completely the opposite. So as I'm watching these cars get up, even a place called Sahara Dodge, they have full of Rams. You know, trucks are one of the hardest things to get, but I made a video about this a little while ago. They went out and bought a bunch of Ram trucks from all these other Midwest dealers back east to bring them to the lot because Vegas was just, there was no trucks to buy. Now they're completely full of trucks. So I don't know what they're going to do with all those ones. So, you know, like I said, supply is catching up. you know, it's going to take a while for retail to lower itself down because there's still people out there overpaying. So when you guys hear me saying prices are going down at auction and they're like, no, you're not, you're smoking crack, it's going way up, I don't know what you're talking about. We've literally seen it consistently go down in pricing 2 to 3% every single week. You know, I've literally gone there, bid on cars. I bid $20,000 on this car. They say no. I come back 2 weeks later, bid 20 grand, no. 20 grand, no. Anyways, a month and a half, 2 months down the road, now they're like, okay, we'll take 18, we'll take 19. So they're slowly dropping their prices. So you'll see this at the auction. Just don't be an idiot and overbid. If you don't need the car, don't buy it. So all this hype is being, like I said, blown up out of proportion. So now you take all these automotive YouTubers that are, you know, taking a big chunk of exotic cars, which there's a huge demand for right now because there's hardly anything out there. Like after I bought my R8, people actually called me back and said, hey, can you bring it back? Do you want to trade in for another car? Do you want a McLaren? Do you want this car? We have somebody that wants, you know, lower mileage R8. And I told him, I was like, I already put 3,000 miles on it. I already drove back to Vegas, you know, see you guys later. So that's kind of the thing that's happening. You know, I have friends of mine at a Toyota dealership that are actually calling people and telling them to bring back their cars in because they're getting more money for certain models and certain makes than brand new cars. So they're trying to trade people and swap them out. But like I said, all these automotive YouTubers are dumping their cars because I believe they have somebody like myself or they've been paying attention to the market. They know that if they get rid of these cars at an all-time high, they'll take their time and they'll be able to buy certain ones that they want to get back slowly at a pace. Plus, you can use your celebrity to get extra amount of money. I've seen certain people, like I know Stradman's a good one for this one, probably Ed Bullion. You know, they'll get over market because of their celebrity. And a lot of people will pay that just to meet them. It's crazy, you know. Some of the cars that we've sold, you know, through the dealership, even I wasn't popular like I am now on YouTube, but I had a local thing where I did basically a bunch of funny ads on Facebook, and people used to come to buy it from us just because of our ads. So I know how that works into people actually maybe overpaying a little bit or going across town to buy from you because of whatever, they like you or they like your vibe or your whatever, you're their favorite YouTuber or celebrity or something like that. So not only are they getting the overpriced of the all-time high retail right now, they're probably getting another 5 to 10% additional for being a celebrity, and people will pay that just so they can have the opportunity to meet them, you know, and that's one of the big things. So, you know, it's very crazy. Like I said, please be careful out there. If you're going to put your car up for sale, post it up there. You know, if you have a bunch of cars, my strong recommendation is start liquidating quite a few. If you have some really, really rare cars that you can get top dollar for, start liquidating them now. And then also, if you have a lot of cars that are very regular, kind of boring cars, liquidate those too. The middle is always going to be kind of the same. If you have a, you know, S-Class Mercedes, it's nice, whatever else, they'll bring some sort of a value. But cars that are like basic economy cars and cars that are extremely rare, you know, those ones are the ones I think that you're going to get the most money for as of right now because there's so many buyers out there in the market with this inflated sense of price. And so even if you bought them 5-7 years ago and you're holding on to them because it's your dream car, let it rip, let it fly. I've been looking for a 67 Mustang. I don't care if it's a coupe, fastback, whatever else, I'll do the conversion. I've been looking for one for months. Usually I used to buy rollers, like a good interior and a shell with no motor for like $3,000 to $4,000. Now everybody wants 8, 9, 10 grand for them, you know, and they're complete piles of crap. So I'm just being patient. I'm waiting to find my right one so I can go ahead and finish my build. That's the one I want to do on this channel eventually if I ever find one. So if you do have one of those, please hit me up. I'm definitely interested. Like I said, I just need the interior, the shell. I don't care if it's a coupe or a fastback. I can do the conversion, but if you have a fastback, great. If you have a coupe, even better, because then I'll show how to people how to do the conversion online, which I think will be pretty fun anyways. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, pay attention to the automotive market. It is a scary place out there, but as long as you pay attention to what you're doing, I think you guys will be all right. And if you have any questions, always put them in the comment section below. Any questions on, you know, what your car is worth, you know, what do you think about the automotive industry? How's the market in your area? I love to hear from you guys. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.